Most people chase success because they believe success will make life easier. They think the moment they achieve their dream, everything will finally fall into place. But nobody tells you the truth. Success doesn't make you comfortable, it challenges you. It exposes your weaknesses, destroys your excuses, and forces you to become someone stronger than the person you are today. There will come a moment when you realize that nobody is coming to rescue you. No perfect opportunity is coming. No magical moment is coming. The life you want will demand a version of you that is more disciplined, more courageous, and more committed than ever before. Success has a price, and the price is transformation. It will force you to let go of old habits, old fears, and even old versions of yourself. It will teach you that motivation fades, but discipline remains. It will show you that failure is not your enemy. It is the teacher that prepares you for greatness. Today, I want to reveal the 6 brutal truths that success will force you to learn, because the moment you accept these truths is the moment your life begins to change. The first brutal truth success will force you to learn is this: nobody is coming to save you. And that truth is not meant to discourage you. It is meant to wake up something powerful inside of you. Because the moment you stop waiting for someone else to fix your life is the moment you finally take control of it. Too many people spend years waiting. They wait for the perfect opportunity. They wait for the right person to appear. They wait for the perfect conditions. They tell themselves, when I have more money, I'll start. When I have more confidence, I'll take action. When life becomes easier, I'll become better. But life doesn't work that way. The people who create extraordinary lives are not the people who had everything handed to them. They are the people who decided that no matter what happened around them, they were responsible for what happened next. You have to understand something. Nobody knows your dreams the way you know them. Nobody feels the urgency inside you. Nobody wakes up in your mind and carries your fears, your ambitions, your potential, and your vision. That means if you are waiting for someone else to push you, encourage you, or believe in you before you move forward, you are giving away your power. The world rewards ownership. The moment you say, this is my life, my responsibility, my future, something changes. You stop looking for excuses and start looking for solutions. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what can I do about it? Because successful people are not people who never face problems. They are people who refuse to surrender their power to those problems. Every person you admire has faced moments when they felt alone. They had moments where nobody understood their vision. They had moments where people doubted them, criticized them, or told them their goals were impossible. But they made a decision. They would no longer depend on outside approval to move forward. And that decision changes everything. You see, when you believe someone else is responsible for your success, you also believe someone else has the power to take it away. If your progress depends on your boss, your family, your friends, or the world being perfect, then your future is always in someone else's hands. But when you accept responsibility, you become dangerous in the best possible way. Because now your growth is no longer controlled by circumstances. It is controlled by your choices. You can't always control what happens to you. You can't control every setback, every rejection, or every unexpected challenge. But you can control your response. You can control your attitude. You can control the actions you take every single day. That is where real power begins. A lot of people want the results of successful people, but they don't want the responsibility successful people carry. They want the confidence, but they don't want the uncomfortable moments that build confidence. They want the achievements, but they don't want the discipline required to earn them. They want the transformation, but they don't want to become the person capable of creating it. The truth is, success requires you to stop blaming and start building. Maybe you were not given the perfect start. Maybe you faced challenges other people never saw. Maybe you had moments where life felt unfair. But your past may explain where you are. It does not have to decide where you go. At some point, every person who creates something meaningful has to draw a line in the sand and say, from this moment forward, I take responsibility. Not because everything is easy, not because every obstacle disappears, but because you finally understand that your future is too important to leave in the hands of chance. The greatest shift happens when you stop asking who is going to help you and start asking who you need to become, because the person who takes responsibility for their life becomes unstoppable. The second brutal truth success will force you to learn is that your comfort zone is the enemy of your greatest potential, because the life you dream about is almost always waiting on the other side of the things you are currently avoiding. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they become too comfortable. They settle into routines that feel safe but slowly destroy their growth. They choose familiar pain over unfamiliar possibility. They stay in the same habits, the same patterns, and the same mindset because at least they know what to expect. But here is the reality. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it becomes expensive over time. Every great achievement requires you to become someone different. You cannot create a bigger life with the same mindset that created your current situation. You cannot reach new levels while protecting the same fears that have been holding you back. At some point, you have to be willing to step into uncertainty and discover what you are truly capable of. The strongest people are not people who never feel fear. They are people who learned how to move with fear present. They understand that courage is not the absence of doubt. Courage is taking action even when doubt is speaking loudly. Think about anything meaningful you have ever accomplished. There was probably a moment when you felt uncomfortable. There was a moment when you questioned yourself. There was a moment when quitting would have been easier than continuing. But that uncomfortable moment was not a sign that you were on the wrong path. It was proof that you were growing. Growth is uncomfortable because you are leaving behind an old version of yourself. The person you are today was created by your past choices. Your habits, your beliefs, and your daily actions have shaped your reality. But if you want a new reality, you must be willing to challenge those old patterns. You have to ask yourself difficult questions. Are your current habits taking you closer to your dreams or further away? Are the things you do every day building the future you want, or are they protecting you from temporary discomfort? Because success does not care about your intentions. It responds to your actions. A lot of people say they want change, but they want change without changing. They want a new result while keeping the same excuses. They want confidence without taking risks. They want strength without facing challenges. They want success without sacrifice. But there is no shortcut around becoming stronger. The person who becomes successful is the person who learns to embrace the process. They understand that every challenge is an opportunity to expand their limits. Every obstacle is a chance to build a stronger mind. Every difficult moment is a training ground for the person they are becoming. You don't build confidence by waiting until you feel ready. You build confidence by proving to yourself that you can handle what once scared you. Every time you do something difficult, you send a message to yourself, I am capable. I can adapt. I can handle more than I thought. That is how your identity changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who avoids challenges and start seeing yourself as someone who faces them. You stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what will I become if I try? Because the biggest danger in life is not failure. The biggest danger is reaching the end of your journey and realizing you never tested your own potential. Comfort will always offer you reasons to stay where you are. It will tell you that tomorrow is better. It will tell you that you are not ready. It will remind you of every possible risk. But your dreams are also speaking. Your future is calling. And the question is, which voice will you listen to? The people who achieve extraordinary things are not people who found an easier road. They are people who became strong enough to walk a harder one. Your comfort zone may protect you from temporary fear, but it will never introduce you to your greatest self. You grow when you choose the challenge. The third brutal truth success will force you to learn is that you will have to outgrow people, places, and old versions of yourself. And this is one of the hardest lessons because human beings naturally want to hold on to what feels familiar. We want to keep the same relationships, the same routines, and the same identity because they are connected to memories and comfort. But growth requires movement. And sometimes the person you are becoming cannot continue living the way you used to. There comes a point in your journey where you have to make a decision. Do you protect your past, or do you build your future? Because you cannot step into a new level of life while constantly holding on to the things that were designed for your old level. The person you were yesterday helped you survive yesterday, but that does not mean that person has everything you need to succeed tomorrow. Sometimes the greatest obstacle standing between you and your next breakthrough is not a lack of talent. It is an attachment to an outdated version of yourself. You have to understand something powerful. Change is not always about adding more. Sometimes change is about removing what no longer belongs. There are beliefs you carried for years that were never truly yours. There are fears you accepted because someone else gave them to you. There are limitations you placed on yourself because of experiences that happened long ago. But just because you believed something for a long time does not mean it is still true. Your future requires a new mindset. Many people stay trapped because they are loyal to an old identity. They say, this is just who I am. But what if the person you think you are is only a reflection of your past and not a prediction of your future? You are not a finished product. You are constantly becoming, and becoming requires letting go. There will be moments when the people around you do not understand your growth. They may question why you are changing. They may wonder why you are working harder, thinking differently, or chasing something bigger. Sometimes people are comfortable with the version of you that never challenged them. But remember this. Not everyone who started with you is meant to finish with you. Some people are part of your story for a season, not your entire journey. Some relationships teach you lessons, give you memories, and help shape you, but they are not meant to follow you into every chapter of your life. That does not mean you become bitter. It means you become aware. You can appreciate where someone was in your life while still understanding that your path is changing. The same is true about your environment, the places you spend time in, the conversations you have, and the energy you surround yourself with influence who you become. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, excuses, and people who have given up on their own dreams, eventually that mindset starts becoming normal. And what you consider normal determines what you believe is possible. If you want extraordinary results, you have to be willing to create an extraordinary environment. This does not mean you need to reject everyone around you. It means you have to be intentional about what you allow into your mind. You have to protect your focus. You have to choose growth over approval, because there will be moments when your old life calls you back. Your old habits will remind you how comfortable they felt. Your old fears will tell you that change is too risky. Your old identity will try to convince you that becoming someone greater means losing who you Jake. But the truth is the opposite. You are not losing yourself. You are discovering yourself. The strongest transformation happens when you stop asking, how do I stay the same and get different results? And start asking, who do I need to become to create the life I want? Every level of success requires a different version of you. The person who builds a successful career thinks differently than the person who only dreams about one. The person who creates a strong relationship behaves differently than the person who only hopes for one. The person who achieves greatness develops habits, standards, and beliefs that match that greatness. You cannot become the person who achieves your dreams while protecting the mindset that kept you from them. Sometimes you have to say goodbye to the person you were so you can meet the person you were meant to become. Your next chapter requires a new you. The fourth brutal truth success will force you to learn is that talent is not enough. Motivation is not enough. Having a dream is not enough. The world is filled with people who have incredible potential, amazing ideas, and great intentions, but they never turn those things into reality because they never learn the power of consistency. You see, everyone loves the beginning. Everyone loves the excitement of a new goal. The first day of a new journey feels powerful. You feel inspired. You feel unstoppable. You imagine the person you are going to become, and for a moment, everything seems possible. But success is not built in those moments when you feel unstoppable. Success is built on the days when you feel tired, uncertain, and unmotivated, and you choose to move forward anyway. That is where the difference is made. Anybody can work hard when they are excited. Anybody can take action when everything feels easy. But the person who creates extraordinary results is the person who learns how to show up when there is no applause, no excitement, and no immediate reward. Because your feelings change. Your emotions change, your circumstances change, but your commitment has to remain. A lot of people believe successful people have more motivation than everyone else. They think those people wake up every morning feeling inspired and ready to conquer the world. But the truth is, successful people are not controlled by their emotions. They have learned how to create habits and standards that carry them forward even when their motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire that keeps burning. You cannot build a powerful life depending on a feeling that comes and goes. If you only work when you feel motivated, you will only grow when life is easy. But life will test you. There will be challenges. There will be setbacks. There will be days when the old version of you will try to take over and convince you to quit. That is when discipline becomes your advantage. Discipline is making the decision once and honoring it every day. It is deciding that your goals matter more than your temporary comfort. It is deciding that your future deserves your effort today. It is understanding that every small action you repeat is creating the person you are becoming. The truth is, success rarely comes from one massive action. It comes from thousands of small actions performed consistently. One workout does not transform your body. One book does not transform your mind. One good decision does not transform your life. But repeated actions practiced over time create an identity. You become what you repeatedly do. If you repeatedly choose discipline, you become disciplined. If you repeatedly choose growth, you become someone who grows. If you repeatedly choose courage, you become someone who no longer runs from challenges. Your daily choices are votes for the person you are becoming. And this is where many people misunderstand success. They think the goal is to achieve something outside of themselves. They think the finish line is the reward, but the real reward is the transformation that happens while you are chasing the goal. Because every time you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust with yourself. And that trust is powerful. When you know you can rely on yourself, you become stronger. You stop needing constant validation from the outside world because you have proven to yourself that you can do what you said you would do. That is where confidence comes from. Confidence is not something you wait for. Confidence is something you earn through action. You earn it every time you do the difficult thing. Every time you choose discipline over distraction. Every time you keep going when quitting would be easier. Remember, the people who succeed are not always the most talented. They are often the ones who stayed committed the longest. The world is full of talented people who never reached their potential because they depended on inspiration instead of commitment. They started many things but finished few. They had dreams, but they did not build the habits required to make those dreams real. Your talent may open a door, but your consistency determines how far you walk through it. So stop asking yourself if you feel ready. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop expecting motivation to carry you. Build the discipline that carries you when motivation disappears. Because your future is not created by what you do occasionally. It is created by what you do consistently. The fifth brutal truth success will force you to learn is that failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. It is not the enemy standing in your way. It is the teacher that prepares you for the next level. Most people have been trained to fear failure. From a young age, we are taught that mistakes mean we are not good enough. We are taught to avoid losing, avoid rejection, avoid being wrong. So when failure appears, many people see it as a sign to stop. But successful people see failure differently. They understand that every setback carries information. Every mistake reveals something. Every obstacle is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and become stronger. They do not ask, why is this happening to me? They ask, what is this trying to teach me? Because the truth is, you cannot grow without being tested. You cannot build strength without resistance. You cannot build confidence without challenges. You cannot discover what you are capable of until life gives you a reason to prove it. The people who achieve great things are not people who avoided failure. They are people who refuse to let failure become their identity. There is a huge difference between failing at something and being a failure. A failed attempt is an event. It is feedback. It is a moment in time. But many people turn one difficult moment into a permanent label. They say, I failed, so I must not be capable. They allow one rejection, one mistake, or one disappointment to convince them that their dream is impossible. But what if that failure was not a wall? What if it was a doorway? What if every challenge you face is actually preparing you for the person you need to become? Think about the greatest achievements in history. Behind almost every success story, there are moments nobody saw. There were struggles, doubts, wrong decisions, and times when quitting would have been easier. The difference was not that those people never fell. The difference was that they learned how to get back up. Because life does not reward perfection. Life rewards persistence. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to have moments where things do not work out the way you planned. You are going to experience disappointment. That is not a sign that you should stop. That is proof that you are in the arena. The only people who never fail are the people who never try. And if you are trying to create something meaningful, failure is going to show up along the way. The question is not whether you will face failure. The question is who you will become when you do. Will you become someone who breaks under pressure? Or will you become someone who uses pressure to become stronger? The difference is your perspective. A weak mindset sees failure as the end. A powerful mindset sees failure as a lesson. Every time you fall, you gain wisdom. Every time you face rejection, you become more resilient. Every time you overcome something difficult, you build evidence that you can handle more than you thought. Your struggles are not just obstacles. They are training. The hardest moments of your life often develop the strongest parts of your character. They teach you patience. They teach you courage. They teach you how to keep moving forward when the path is unclear. And that is a skill no one can take away from you. Success is not about creating a life where nothing goes wrong. That life does not exist. Success is about becoming the kind of person who can handle whatever comes your way. You do not need a perfect journey. You need a powerful response. When something fails, adjust. When something does not work, learn. When a door closes, find another way. But never allow a temporary situation to convince you that your future is limited. Your failures are not your final destination. The person you become after the failure is what matters. Remember, every setback carries a lesson, but every challenge carries a gift. Every fall is an invitation to rise stronger. Failure is not the end of your story. It is where your next level begins. The fifth brutal truth success will force you to learn is that failure is not the opposite of truth. Success, it is one of the greatest teachers you will ever have. The problem is that most people have been conditioned to see failure as something to avoid at all costs. They see a mistake as proof that they are not capable. They see rejection as proof that they were never meant to win. They see obstacles as signs to turn around. But what if you have been looking at failure the wrong way? What if failure was never designed to stop you? What if it was designed to prepare you? Every person who has achieved something meaningful has faced moments where things did not go according to plan. Every person who built something great has experienced doubt, disappointment, and moments where they questioned themselves. The difference is not that they avoided failure. The difference is that they refused to allow failure to define them. You have to understand that failure is an event, not an identity. You can fail at a business idea. You can fail at a relationship. You can fail at a goal you set for yourself. But that does not mean you are a failure. It simply means you are human and you are learning. The most dangerous thing you can do is take a temporary situation and turn it into a permanent belief about who you are. One setback happens, and suddenly you tell yourself, I'm not good enough. One person says no, and suddenly you believe nobody will ever say yes. One dream takes longer than expected, and suddenly you convince yourself that the dream was impossible. But the truth is, the greatest achievements often come after the greatest struggles. The person you become while overcoming challenges is far more valuable than the comfort you had before the challenge arrived. Because every time you face difficulty and continue forward, you build something inside yourself that cannot be taken away. You build resilience. And resilience is one of the most powerful qualities you can develop. It is the ability to get knocked down and still believe you have what it takes to rise again. It is the ability to look at a difficult moment and say, this may hurt, but this will not stop me. Life is not going to ask you if you are ready before it tests you. Challenges will come. Unexpected problems will appear. Plans will change. People will disappoint you. Things will not always work out the way you imagined. But your power is not in controlling every situation. Your power is in controlling your response. Anyone can stay positive when everything is going perfectly. Anyone can believe in themselves when the results are coming quickly. But your character is built in the moments when the outcome is uncertain and you still choose to move forward. That is where champions are created. The mistake most people make is that they judge the journey too early. They plant a seed and expect a tree tomorrow. They start working toward a goal and expect immediate results. When they do not see progress quickly enough, they assume it is not working. But success does not happen on your schedule. Growth takes time. A seed does not become a tree overnight. A skill does not become mastery after one attempt. A dream does not become reality after one decision. Everything valuable requires patience, effort, and the willingness to continue through the uncomfortable stages. Failure is often the moment right before growth. The rejection that hurts today may be redirecting you towards something greater. The mistake you regret today may teach you the lesson that saves you tomorrow. The challenge you are facing may be building the strength you need for the next level of your life. You cannot always see the purpose while you are in the middle of the struggle. Sometimes clarity only comes after you survive it. That is why you cannot quit during the chapter that is meant to build you. You have to stop asking, why did this happen? And start asking, how can I use this? Because the person who learns from failure becomes stronger than the person who never quit. A life without challenges may feel comfortable, but it will never reveal your true potential. You discover what you are made of when life demands more from you than you thought you could give. So when you fail, do not run. Do not hide. Do not surrender your dream because of one difficult moment. Study it. Learn from it. Adjust your approach. Get back up, because every time you rise after falling, you prove something powerful to yourself. You are capable of more than you imagined. Failure does not end your journey. It strengthens the person walking it. The sixth brutal truth success will force you to learn is that the person you become matters more than the goals you achieve. Because at the end of the journey, the greatest victory is not just what you gained, it is who you had to become to earn it. A lot of people believe success is about reaching a destination. They think once they get the money, the recognition, the position, or the achievement they have been chasing, they will finally feel complete. But anyone who has truly grown understands something deeper. Achievements are temporary, but transformation lasts forever. You can lose a possession, you can lose a title, you can lose an opportunity, but the character you build, the strength you develop, and the person you become stays with you. That is the real reward, because the goal was never just to get more. The goal was to become more. Every dream you chase is asking you a question: Who do you need to become to create this reality? And that question is where true growth begins. If you want a stronger life, you must become stronger. If you want greater opportunities, you must become someone prepared to handle them. If you want success that lasts, you must build the mindset, habits, and discipline that can support it. Many people chase results while ignoring the person creating those results. They want the outcome without the evolution. They want the reward without the transformation. But life does not work that way. The external world changes when the internal world changes first. Your beliefs influence your actions. Your actions create your habits. Your habits shape your identity. And your identity determines the direction of your life. So if you want a different future, you cannot only change what you do, you have to change who you are. The old version of you may have helped you survive certain seasons of your life. It may have protected you when you needed protection. It may have helped you through difficult moments. But the same identity that helped you survive cannot always help you succeed. There comes a moment when you have to upgrade yourself. You have to become more disciplined than your excuses, more courageous than your fears, more committed than your doubts. Because success will constantly challenge your identity. It will ask, can you handle more responsibility? It will ask, can you remain focused when distractions appear? It will ask, can you stay humble when you achieve something? And the answers to those questions determine how far you can go. A lot of people achieve something and then lose it because they never became the person capable of maintaining it. They reached the goal, but they never developed the character required to protect it. That is why your growth matters. The goal is not just to climb the mountain. The goal is to become the person who can stand at the top. Think about every challenge you have faced, every difficult decision, every moment when you had to choose between the easy path and the right path. Those moments were not just obstacles. They were opportunities to build yourself. Every time you chose discipline over comfort, you became stronger. Every time you chose courage over fear, you became stronger. Every time you kept going when nobody was watching, you became stronger. That is the person who creates lasting success. Because the world can give you opportunities, but only your character determines what you do with them. You can have talent, but without character, talent disappears. You can have resources, but without wisdom, resources are wasted. You can have success, but without growth, success becomes empty. The greatest investment you will ever make is the investment in yourself. Read, learn, improve, challenge yourself. Surround yourself with people who push you to grow. Become obsessed with becoming better than you were yesterday. Not because you are not enough today, but because your potential is greater than your current reality. The journey of success is not about becoming